Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, and I want to give my commentary on Chantel Christie, the daughter of Doug and Jackie Christie from Basketball Wives, doing a sit down interview with producer Carlos King. And frankly, it appears that Chantel has made things even worse. Now, before I get into my opinions, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. And everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. So let me know in the comments if you checked out the interview in its entirety. You can find the interview on Carlos King's YouTube channel. I listened to the interview while I was working today, and all I could think of, Chantel Christie, for me, she is the female version of Apollo Nida, the ex-husband of Phaedra Parks. The reason why I say that is because whenever Apollo does interviews and he is asked one specific question, he talks at least for 5 straight minutes answering that question. And he goes all around the mulberry bush. He goes up the street, around the corner, down the highway, up a dirt road, up a mountain, back down to the valley. And by the time he answers the question, you done forgot what he was asked. You are completely lost. And so is the interviewer. Chantel, she answers the question, but it's with a lot of information, a lot of details, a lot of emoting, a lot of emotion, and a little theatrics. And it's just a lot. I was just thinking, damn, oh my gosh, I thought, I'm going to have plenty of time after this interview is done. I could check out other stuff. It felt like a mini series, like Roots. It was just so much information. And there were times where you could forget that Carlos King was even in the room with her. It just kind of felt like she was just talking almost to herself. So what I want to say is we're going to get into some specific clips. But I will say that Chantel comes off like very angry, and she kind of admits to having anger within. And she feels like the viewers, we did not really, and this is just my opinion, Chantel, on how I interpreted everything that you said during the interview. In my opinion, Chantel feels like the viewers, we did not resonate with her side of things because we did not see her crying and sulking over her broken relationship with her mom, but we saw the anger. That's what she thinks. So I just want to play a few clips, and then I want to, get into my commentary. So shout out to the Bravo Shade Room. They took some clips. Again, she's very verbose, very wordy, and loves to talk. She is articulate and beautiful. And so if for a person who wants someone to be very chatty, very verbose, she's perfect for an interview. But let's get into when she claims that Jackie Christie told her as a kid that she hated her. And there's something that I want to point out. Okay, so I'm going to mute my mic so that there is no echo, and with my commentary.
She called you out the name? Plenty of times. The B word? Absolutely. Okay. Like you tell me at 12 years old to my face, I hate you, verbatim. That is a moment I will never forget. Why did she say that? We were just in the middle of one of our many heated arguments, disputes about whatever it may have been. And it just got to a point where she was like, I hate you. And I think that out of all of her kids, out of all 3 of us, I'm the most outspoken. I'm the one that is like pedal to the floor, right? I've always been that way. Anybody that knows me knows that. And that's something that I need to work on. That's something that I need to change about myself and improve on. But this didn't come out of nowhere. And it definitely didn't happen for the sake of this show. This is who I've been. And the instances that we've had that have been very heated, it's never gotten physical, but it's gotten right there beneath it. The words that are being exchanged, the things that are being said, this is not new. This didn't come out of nowhere. Like, this is... She called you out the name? Plenty of times. The B word? Absolutely. Okay. Like you tell me at 12 years old to my face, I hate you, verbatim.
Okay, I just want to briefly say this story about she is saying when she was 12 years old, Jackie Christie allegedly told her that she hated her, and Carlos wanted to know more context as to what would lead a mother to say that. And Chantel says, we were having one of our many, arguments. And I thought to myself, at 12 years old, you're arguing with a parent, with your mom. I grew up with like Southern Baptist parents. They were old school. I'm a late baby. If they were still alive, my mom would be like 85. This year, she would be 86. And my dad, he'd be close to like 90. So, like that generation of Black men, they were definitely kind of like chauvinistic and, the man runs the house. And I just don't see myself being 12 years old arguing with a parent. It just seems kind of crazy. And then she says, out of my two siblings, so they've got three kids, Doug and Jackie, including Takari, who's not biologically Doug's. Chantel says that she's the most vocal. So at 12 years old, if you're arguing with mom, it sounds like maybe Chantel had a smart ass mouth. Now, I am by no means excusing Jackie Christie for her to say to Chantel, I hate you. That was definitely a loss of self-control, in my opinion. That was a loss of self-control. And Jackie, I don't know why, because Jackie seems verbose as well. I don't know why out of all the things that she could have said, she says that. And the thing is, Chantel seems so level-headed and confident. She was already vocal as a kid. I would imagine it seemed like that would have just bounced right off of her. Whereas someone else, like an empath, someone who's more sensitive, like an empath like myself, I probably would have internalized that. And I would have thought, oh my gosh, my mom says she hates me, But Chantel seems like that probably, she didn't really give a fuck, even as a kid. So I'm not saying that was okay for Jackie to say that to her, but they seem like two fiery people. She even said it, that her dad said, you two are both firecrackers. And it just seems like it's extremely just always going at it, even when Chantel was a kid. So I find that to be very interesting. And I want to know, what do you all think? Like, there's the whole term of growing up while Black. Shout out to the blogger, The Plainest Jane. She was starting a series on growing up while Black. I've mentioned that term when reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville, particularly the Fletcher family, when Nell would yell and go off on her kids. And so it seems to me, Chantel, I think verbally she gets some of that, that kind of like yelling like a Nell Fletcher, that may be something that Jackie Christie gives. But it also seems like Chantel grew up in a very liberal household. And when I say liberal, I mean where I think Doug and Jackie, they must have let the kids really express themselves. If Chantel was saying when she was 12, when she was told I hate you, and it was during one of their many arguments, and she was a 12-year-old, it sounds like she grew up in a house where the kids could say just anything. Now that definitely ain't no growing up while Black, so I feel like when she talks about, because during the interview towards the end, she says, we are a new generation of adults that we're not just going to automatically, respect our parents if they're not giving us anything to respect. And of course, I'm paraphrasing, but I feel like I don't think that her childhood experience was totally as restrictive as like the typical growing up while Black experience. It seems like she kind of could say whatever she wanted, and then I guess Jackie would lose it. Just my opinion. But let's move on to the next clip. There's quite a few here.
We've had those really hard moments where it's like, I cannot believe that you're my mom. And maybe at times she thought, I can't believe you're my daughter. I don't know. Would you call her the B word back? I don't think that I've ever called her the B word to her face until we got to Hawaii. Wow. Yeah. So at 12 years old, your mother says, I hate you, as you guys were arguing. And as a 12-year-old girl, that chips away. Absolutely. At your confidence, and it chips away at your ability. I think that, I don't know, I think expressing the things that she said to a lot of people, it would come off as like, that was a typical Black household. Like, your mom put fear in your heart, she talked down to you, but for me, that wasn't the type of parenting that I needed, right? And I've learned through being a mother myself that you have to kind of meet your kids where they are, and you have to handle them differently. And so I think that maybe, and this is where I give her grace, maybe you didn't know how to be a parent. We've had those really hard moments where it's like, I cannot believe that you're my mom. And maybe at times you had to be a parent, right? Maybe you didn't understand how to be a mother, how to talk to your kids, how to problem solve and be kind and gentle and all of those things. I can give you grace, but you can't tell me that I didn't experience what I experienced, right? And so that's where the rub comes in, because it's like, you want to rewrite history and tell me I didn't do that. I gave you everything. I gave you the best life. You did. You could provide all of the material things. He made millions of dollars and you could provide all of the things. That doesn't take away from the fact that I felt like you was talking to me really crazy, or I feel like you were emotionally abusive, or that's to be a parent, right? Maybe you didn't understand how to be a mother, how to.
Okay, I feel Chantel on this, where she says, I can give you grace if you did not get the tools on how to be affectionate towards your children, how to not listen just to respond, but listen to understand. That was something that Lance Fletcher said to his mom, Nell, on Love and Marriage Huntsville during a family therapy session with Dr. Francis. That is key. Now, a lot of people in our race, they just listen to respond and not to understand how to use it against you in an argument and yell. A lot of people, they can, as soon as they sense that you're starting to disagree with them, that's when they pull out, they get into their rude bag, their bullying bag, they just can't even handle a respectful conversation. Well, this is how, I was thinking about it, how I was looking at it, no matter how lighthearted and polite you are. So, Chantel is saying, I'll give you grace if you did not learn those tools, but you're not going to invalidate my experience, my childhood. And I hear you, Chantel. What I will say is, if Jackie tries to manipulate you, tries to control your mind, and tries to say to you, that didn't happen to you, that's not true, she's trying to gaslight you when she tries to flip reality, and you don't need her to validate your childhood experience or your adult experience with her. You don't even need Jackie Christie's acknowledgement. If she's not going to give it to you, don't even try and ask for it. And I know this is your birth mother. She gave you life and she provided well for you, her and your dad. But if you know these things about her, you ain't even got to go on a reality TV show and argue with her and follow her when she's trying to walk away. If you know she was faking it by walking away on the show, that is something that she says in the interview. She told Carlos that she would tell her mom, when those women try to get at you while the cameras are rolling, get up and walk away. And then she said, and she did it to me. So if you know what time it is with her, Chantel, I'm not even sure why you agreed to go on Basketball Wives in the first place. If you're saying that your mom is like this manipulator, this gaslighter, she invalidates your experiences with her, why do you even participate? I saw my sisters at a funeral. This Saturday will be 2 weeks. But other than that, I can't really remember the last time that I was physically in the same room with them. And it's just because I accept who they are, what they're going to do. And like, I just won't participate. If I think it's going to provoke me to anger or make me feel low inside, I just won't participate. And that's what I would say to Chantel. If you know someone is going to try and invalidate your experience, don't even try to have that level of conversation with them. They don't want to go deep, or she doesn't want to admit if she was a bully or said really harsh things to you. I would say, don't even participate, because she's not going to give you what you need emotionally. So there are more clips. Let's move on. Okay.
People fail to realize, and I shared this with some of the girls off camera, is that when I was 27, I've always had really bad migraines and headaches. I went to the doctor, I got MRIs and all these scans, and the neurologist came back with, you have an aneurysm on the right side of your brain. This is something that obviously my parents are aware of. I've told all of my close loved ones, like, if something ever happens to me, like it could be that, you just never know. Like, we know that I've tried for the last 5 years to live a very stress-free life. That's why I was out the way. So I wasn't in nobody's blogs. That's why I was just out the way living a very peaceful life. You brought me here. You stressed me to the point of disbelief, and then you aim for my head. Yeah, I'm not gonna wear what they're putting on me. I'm not gonna do that, Carlos. I'm not. If that means that they feel like I'm not taking account. People fail to realize.
Now, wait a minute, Chantel. I know you are not expecting your mother, when you pushed her. First of all, you've been following her. She's been trying to walk away from you. Now, I know you're saying that is a tactic that you told her to do, and she used it on you, and you feel like Jackie was walking away to present to us, like, here's my daughter. But again, you participated, though. You kept following your mom and going off on her. You're saying that she was walking away because that's a tactic that you taught her, but you participated. You acted like the rest of the cast that you said the way they treat her. And Chantel comes off like she's fairly intelligent. She's a great orator, great speaker, articulate. But I'm like, girl, you can't see that? You were following her around. But on top of that, in the heat of the moment, after you push her and your mom is now angry, she has a right to defend herself because you pushed her. Oh, she's supposed to be like, oh, well, let me not slap you because your face is a part of your head and you got an aneurysm. Chantel, I don't know if you've ever been in a fight, but I don't think people are like trying to like defend themselves or hit you based upon your pre-existing conditions. I mean, I've never heard of that before. So this is a huge example of how she made things worse for herself by doing this interview with Carlos. And Carlos could have very lightheartedly said, I'm sure like your mom just wasn't thinking in the heat of the moment when she was really angry. She may not have remembered the aneurysm. But girl, come on. Jackie has said on Basketball Wives before that she grew up in the hood. Even if you didn't grow up in the hood, I don't think people are like, oh, let me not hit him on that side because he's got an injury. If you're mad and you're ready to scrap, I just don't think people are that considerate. So I don't even know why she would say that. That is ridiculous. But let's move on to the next clip.
They feel like I'm not taking accountability or whatever, that's okay with me. I take accountability for where I went wrong. Maybe I never should have gone up to the room when she asked for the conversation. Undoubtedly, I should have walked out the door when I was standing at it. I understand that. But nobody can tell me how to handle pain that they have not experienced. It is a different, triggering, crazy circumstance to be in when you're in it. It's so easy to sit there, turn on the TV every Monday. Oh, she's so disrespectful to her mom. Oh, how is she acting like this? Why is she acting like this? When you don't know the backstory, when you already have in your mind that this is the fan favorite, that we riding with Jackie right or wrong. I see all of these comments that say, but that's still your mother. So let her do anything she wants to me. Let her bring up things that she promised she wouldn't. Let her try to get some random guy that I've never, they feel like I'm not taking accountability or whatever.
Okay, I want to talk about this. So she gets annoyed when people would leave comments on blogs or on her post saying, well, that's still your mother. And she's saying, oh, so I'm supposed to still let her talk to me crazy. I never say anything back. When she said that Jackie brought up things on the show that she promised she wouldn't, she's talking about Chantel's custody case that she has with her oldest child, her daughter, and with the daughter's father, obviously. So Jackie brought that up on camera saying, I don't mean to pry, but how are things going with the daughter's dad? And Chantel said how she was so annoyed that Jackie brought that up on camera, and she knows what I'm facing, what I'm dealing with. So I just want to say for a moment, Chantel, I do agree with her on the whole, that's still your mother, or when we replace that with that's still your elder, that is still an older person, show them respect. Now, I agree with Chantel on that, because sometimes some older people, some more seasoned people, some elderly people can be quite rude AF, okay? Rude and judgmental. Like, some people, like the church that I grew up in, they've told me about like this one lady, she called out because she could see like their tattoos, like if their dress shirt was like a little higher up, I guess, and they could see like from the hand, like on the wrist area, they could see the designs of a tattoo. They say something about that. Or, like they just check out how you look on the outside and take issue with it. And I remember this lady commented on like the shape of my legs, and saying, like, God is going to send you a husband. Excuse me, stay out of my business. And there is tea on her being desperate, but we ain't even gonna go there. But the audacity. So I totally I'm with her on that. Like, just because someone is older or a title, like, mother, father, and it automatically means, no, you shouldn't take disrespect from anybody. And as soon as they disrespect you, like, anybody can get it, So I'm totally with her on that. And I think that when you shed the people pleasing, when your confidence increases and you just don't give a fuck what people think, you don't care about making others happy or being a person that's pleasing to them. Once you shed all of that, then yeah, you're not going to care about, oh, let me not say anything to this person who disrespect me just because they're older or they're an elder. I'm totally with that, 100%. Okay, let's move on to the next clip.
That I've never even met to bring some tea about me to this show. Let her talk about grandparents' rights when she knows that I'm in the middle of this case. At what point do you say, you know what, enough is enough? Now, the difference is everybody is telling me, well, you should have just walked away. Duh. That I've never even met to bring some tea about me to this show. Let her talk about grandparents' rights when she.
So, let me know in the comments, what did you think about Chantel Christie's interview with Carlos King? Do you think that it made things worse in terms of her image and how she is perceived amongst the viewers of the Basketball Wives show? Do you think that the interview with Carlos King helped her? What did you think about her saying that, as a child, she had lots of headaches, then she was diagnosed with having an aneurysm on the right side of her brain, and after she pushed Jackie and Jackie became angry and Jackie slapped her, she, went for her head. What do you think about that? Do you think that Jackie in the heat of the moment was like, and I know her aneurysm is on this side. Let me pop. Do you think that was a part of Jackie's strategy? Please let me know in the comments. And I thank you all so much for checking out this video. Please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. So it's 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and Ebony has not made her overnight oats. And I don't think I'm going to. So it'll be a hot breakfast on the stove that I'll figure out. But I always feel like, oh, when I don't make the overnight oats, but it's all good. I can have that, on Saturday and Sunday. But I will talk with you all soon. Bye.